Yes, Siti. Aisia, have you attend?
Yes, doctor.
Oh, okay, okay, very good. How was the season? How was the workshop?
Good.
Good.
I learned more.
Okay. Okay, okay, that's very good. So for those of you who attend, so far only one student told me. If more of you attend, let me know, because it definitely have a point for you. You can write one very short paragraph about what have you learned, and then send it to me, submit it to me. It definitely have some extra point for you. So let's see what we have to discuss today. In today's class, we continue talking about scheduling and tracking the work. But today we are going to review more update methods. The method previously we discussed, it's the fundamental, it's the basic how to draw the S curve, because in that case you need to have a pen, you need to have a paper, and everything's will done by your technique. Okay, so today what we learn is much more close to nowadays. The expert, the PM, sit behind the laptop and assess, evaluate the work by the software, MS Project or Primavera software. So listen carefully. If you have any question, share with class. Okay. So last week we discussed about some topics like work breakdown structure. By right, you must know, you already know what is the work WBS. And then we talk about the Gantt chart. We draw and practice how we can draw a different S curve, right? About the percentage of work progress, or about the financial issue, how much you spend in every stage, in every single days and activity. However, today we want to know about the arrow diagram method. Either you can call it AOA, as you can see, or you can call it ADM. Both of these abbreviate address, same method. Okay, so if you've been asked to use AOA method or ADM, they both same. So let's see. Now, the backbone of CPM is a graphical model of the project. The CPM stands for Critical Path Method. Okay, and there are some basic information or rules you need to know. For example, the different you need to attach a different activity. That depends on the method actually, but the basic component of the model is used or shown by arrow. For example, I stop because this is very general definition for critical path methods. It not differentiate between ADM method and PDM method. These two methods is really actually have a different process to solve the project. But here definition is very general, because I give you just example. In the ADM method, the arrow define one activity. Like what? Like painting of the wall. That's the activity. You show the activity on the arrow. This arrow defined as painting of the wall. But on different method, another method, the activity shows in the node, like the circle you need to draw. You will see in the next pages. So just keep it here. But definitely you need use arrow. Either you use the first method, ADM, or second method. The arrow connect and shows logic of activity. For example, the activity A connected to activity B. A could be anything. But the connection between these two node or these two activity will show or depict with arrow. The diagram that display the interrelationship between activity with logical sequence, it's called the network diagram. This is very general definition, okay? What we trying here to give you some introduction that how we need to evaluate one network or one project. So the question here or definition here, what is the network? What characterization one project should have that you call it a network? A diagram? What is the diagram? You have to understand word by word until you can digest what is the issue about. What is the diagram represent? What kind of diagram we talk? Take a look here. I'm just bring you a journey to the diagram. Take a look here. This is example of the diagram. Take a look here. 1, 2, 3, up to 7 different nodes, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arrow. This is a diagram. Don't go through the detail. So now let's go back to what is the network. What is the network? A diagram you just saw, right? Represent relationship of activity from the first activity that you start the project until the last activity that project finished. So all the activity need to be done, physical activity on the project must mention in the diagram that you draw. The network, take a look here, can be solved or shown by ADM or PDM. There is a difference between these two methods. There are two methods actually. The first method called ADM, the second one called PDM. For now, we not go through what is the difference between these two methods. Slowly, step by step, you will find out. But here, what is the network? A comprehensive diagram that shows all the activity, all the project activity. Okay? The next one. So what is the activity? The question rise one after another. What is the activity? What type of work you can call activity? The performance of a task required to complete the project. the types of the task which you can allocate a time to it, like installing the window for this 10-story building will take 8 days. Okay, 8 days, you gave a time. So this is the activity. Also, you have to pay for it. It has a cost. Okay, again, this is a type of a task that you can call as activity. So anything that either or have a cost or time, you can allocate cost or time, or even both. You can give to this activity time, cost, same time. You can call it as activity. But if there is a task that does not require any time, can you still call it activity? No, because there's nothing to do. If something not take your time, so you're time free, logically that's not activity. And you can find anything that not take your time or cost on the project. Okay? Duration, the estimate time you need to put there to perform that task. Just like the example I gave you, right? Painting the building. This task required some times. You cannot just do it in 1 second. Depends to the dimension of your building, how big your building. It might take 1 day, 2 months, or even more. So that days, 2 days, 30 days, 45 days, 62 days, that's the duration. Why you need to know about duration? Because later you need to use it in your diagram. One question before I go further. Imagine, just imagine we have this method and the diagram I show you. Let's go deeper. Why you need to know about the arrow diagram method? What is the purpose? You can turn on your microphone and talk to me. What is the purpose? Why we need to learn about the ADM? Where you can use it? Let's see. Let's hear from you.
Because it shows the work step by step.
Okay, work step by step. Thank you. Yeah, Arya, thank you. Anyone have more comprehensive answer? I will repeat the question again. There is a diagram here. There is a network you draw. You put all the activity. Why? What's the advantage? What is the purpose? If there is no advantage, so let's not waste our time. Just finish and go
I think,
rest. Yes, Bashir?
yes, I think it's help to schedule the time and determine the critical paths.
Thank you so much. Okay, critical path. You proceed so fast. We haven't reached there, but that's very good. Okay, anyone else want to add something? No idea? I expect more collaboration from everyone in this class because that's how you can learn by thinking about the topic, thinking about the question, and came up with the answer. Okay? So your friend just said we need to find the scheduling of the project. Why we do that? This question I think very easy, right? Why we need to find the scheduling of the project or critical path?
To know the cost.
Okay. Anyone else?
To manage the certain activity very well, I think.
Very well means what? Can you give more explain? How very well?
I think using the schedule, so the community or the organization will take note when for example the constructions, the material to find the material.
That done? Okay. Okay, I was still listening to you. Good, good. Try to collaborate like Mohammed, yeah, like your friend. Now, let's go back to our issue. When we want use CPM method, first of all, you need to draw a network diagram. This is the first step. Let me stop you here. What is the network diagram? Let me bring you somewhere. Stop here. Okay, okay. Like this. Take a look here. This is another project with few activity, very simple one, and here we draw the diagram. Keep your mind. This is the diagram, right? So the step is draw a network diagram. You have to be very careful when you draw a diagram, because if the first step not goes right, then you cannot estimate the individual activities times. Then consequently, you won't be able to analyze the critical activity. Always keep in your mind, drawing the network diagram is very important and required so much practice before you learn it, before your maybe test, your example, your assignment. So this is very important. If some student cannot draw properly, then they 100% they cannot analyze the critical activity. Okay, so activity sequencing, understand the order of how to accomplish the job in the field. What is the sequence of activity? Means you first know what activity need to be done, and then what activity come next, what other activity come in the second, third, fourth, and goes on a stage. The planner must understand how various activity of project related to each other in terms of their logical sequence. I go back to the same diagram. For example, you can see here on the node 1, connect to node 4, fabricate rebar, excavate, and fabricate framework. This is the logic of the work. If you not finish these 3 tasks, you cannot start fix the formwork. You cannot pour the concrete. How this task come one after another. This is based on your experiment, your logic of the work. So this is the basic of drawing a network. You must know what activity need to be first and which one can come after that. Okay, this is the example I just show you. Now, let's assume currently, today, you are on the site, you are on the project, and you do something. Just imagine something. Could be anything, right? The activity you do at this moment is not predecessor and neither successor. What you do at this moment. But the predecessor is the activity you done previously. Maybe yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, and finished or about to finish. Depends to what method you use. Please don't confuse. I just try to transfer the knowledge to you step by step. But assume finished. Now you start new task. The task you need to do tomorrow is the task, you can call it successor. Okay? For example, now at this moment, you are doing the wiring, install the light. But yesterday you done the painting. So that painting is predecessor. I'm just give you an example, okay? This is just very simple example. It's not necessary to be the same way in the project. But the point, get the point. The painting that you done yesterday is predecessor. And after installing the light, the bulb, the lamp, tomorrow you need to install the something else, I don't know, window, for example. So there are so many activities, we not go through the detail. So the one you want to do tomorrow is successor activity, okay? And why they're important? Let's reach to this stage. Why we need to know about the predecessor and successor. It's all about the timing. This is needed when you calculate the time of the project. For example, let's read here. The predecessor, a task which it start and finish date, determines the start and finish date of its next activity or next task. Now, what is the critical path? Your friend just mentioned about critical path. I don't know if where your friends heard about it or how many of you already know, but doesn't matter. Let's review. Critical path, they're actually sequence of activities. Sequence of many activity depends how the project is big. For example, if the main project may contain 100 different activities, but your critical path could be only 4 activity, maybe up to 20 activities. It depends to the project. But the point is, there is a sequence of activity that start from first task. I repeat again, the critical path is the path start always from first activity, the project start, end up to the last activity that project going to be finished. the shortest time possible to complete the project. This is the different, another definition. Any delay, I repeat again, listen, any delay happen to the activities that located on the critical path will the case that you cannot finish the project on time. That's why the activities, either is 4, 5, 10, or 50, doesn't matter. The activities that located on the critical path should not face any delay. Other activity that not located on critical path, yes, they can have a delay. I want you to analyze it in your mind. The activity not located on critical path, they can have a delay and you still finish your project on time. But the activity on critical path, you cannot have any delay on those activity. If you do, you cannot finish your project on time, not activity, whole project on time. And the last thing you need to know in this slide, that a project, it's possible to have a 2 critical path. It's okay. I'm not go through read it for you because there are some definition here like flood. You haven't studied about it. We keep it for later, but you will understand later about some issue like free flood, total flood later. Listen very careful. Please listen very carefully because what we study is very important, and not only for maybe exam or quiz, but it's very important for your future job. As I mentioned last time, if you know how to work with these topics, you can have a very good career in the future. Very good career means very good salary. So listen very carefully. You already know we are talking about today in this class, we only talk about ADM method, right? So whatever I say until end of today is only about ADM. In ADM method, the activity, take a look here, activity A could be anything. For simplicity, we just mentioned A, B, C, D. Activity A shows on this arrow. It means the activity, the arrow represent as one activity. Another activity here, the node does not have any duration, does not have any time. But activity have. This activity has duration. Always, I repeat again, start from one node and end up to another node. Again, activity B started from one node, end up to another node. For example, we want to review some example for ADM. Activity A, B, C. In the first diagram, we can see there are 3 different activities, but how we can interpret, how we can read it if we face like the first diagram. Activity A, must 100% finished. And only then activity B and C can start. That's the characterization of ADM method. If activity A not finish 100%, the other activity like B and C, they're not able to start. Or if you want to start, at the same time, you cannot use this kind of the drawing. Let me explain in another way. If you draw like that, literally you are trying to say activity A 100% finished. Then only B and C can start. Take a look on the second one. There's three activity, A, B, C again. What does mean here? Both A and B must finish. Must finish means 100% finished. And then only activity C can start. Take a look on the third one. A, C must finish before either B or D can start. If you have any question, please feel free to ask. Now let's see on the last one. There is something different here, right? One arrow does not have any A, B or name like alphabet, but mention dummy. What does it mean? Why we need to have a dummy activity? First of all, let's read the detail. A must finish. A must finished before B can start, right? And both A and C must finish before D can start. The intention, the incentive behind that dummy activity is only show the relation between different tasks, between different activity. But that dummy does not have any duration. You will need to know when you want to solve example, okay? It's very important. You know that the dummy does not have any duration. So keep in your mind. So there are some examples. Take a look here. If you have any question, you can ask. Here you have three different activity, A, B, C. Here there are four, and here there are three, which we already discussed about it. Now, there are some rules you need to know, you need to keep in your mind when you're drawing a diagram. First one, the time flows from left to right. Let me go back here. Take a look here. You always draw your network from left to the right. This is the worldwide rules. You go to any country around the world, go to Canada, go to Europe, go to, I don't know, Japan. They always draw from left to right. I'm not saying if you draw from right to left, you not get the answer, but this is not the way. Always draw from left to the right. That's the professional way, correct way. So the second one, the numbers within circle represent the node. I think I should exit the full screen and go back to the our diagram. But here we didn't mention the number. I should go to example. Please give me a second. Okay, take a look here. I'm talking about this number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This numbering. Number within circle represent the events or nodes. The arrowhead determine the direction of flow between the nodes. The description of the activity should be written upon the arrow, like here. This is the description of arrow. A, B, C, D, and goes on, E, F, G. So the definition, the name of activity always should write in the top of the arrow. Take a look here. This is arrow, top. In some instance, it's necessary to introduce the dummy activity. We will explain about the dummy activity and see actually in the example in more slide, in the next slide. But you already know why we draw the dummy activity. We want to show the relation between different activity, okay? If you not draw the dummy, what happened? In that case, just like the example we already have, let me share with you. Take a look here on the last one. Okay, I cannot change the size, but take a look here. Here, A and C must finish, only D start. If we remove the dummy activity, then it send the wrong message. It say activity D can start without have any connection with activity A. Let's go to the site. Imagine the activity D is pouring concrete and A is installing the rebar in the foundation. Then you might pour the concrete without installing any steel bar on the foundation. What happened? Oh, I don't know what happened, but everything destroyed. So you cannot skip the dummy activity. It's very important. Any questions so far? Please share if you have any question. Anybody? Sometimes I'm wondering if you feeling sleepy or no, you're listening to me because
We're listening.
yeah, good. I'm just shows my concern that because I don't want you miss anything. So no question look like. Let's continue then. Take a look here, what we have. The X, Y, W, Z is different activity. And we have one dummy activity here. Let's read. This activity, the Z, can start after the completion of activity. This one and the X1. This one has no connection whatsoever with the Y. with this activity. But in order to start the activity Z, these two activity X and W need to be 100% finished. But take a look here. This activity can start only after activity X finished. Has no connection with this activity. Because the dummy, you see the dummy activity, okay, end up to from 151 end up to 161. If it was vice versa, like different, just let me show you something like that, then the story change. In that case, the Z activity only dependent on this activity. Okay? We can have so many different type of the diagram. It could be like that. That depends to what actually done on the project. Now we start by a very simple example. Take a look here, the diagram for construction of pad footing. Here you have 3 different tasks. After those 3 completely finished, then the project can go to the next stage, which is the fixed form work. And you have to finish this activity, fixed form work, then only can you go to the fixed rebar. After fixed rebar, can start the concrete. This project is very simple and have only 6 different activity and 7 different nodes. Now, from this page, take a look carefully because this is the stage that you're going to learn how to calculate everything. Mostly, this information is related to calculating the cost, economic cost. What you have here, node 1A, node 2. Always go from left to the right. This is your arrow. Also go from left to the right. Your activity A. This is just for more simplicity, we mention A, but could be anything, like just assume it's a fixed rebar, okay? Fixed rebar. This is important. Where you put the fixed rebar, where you need to write it down, here. The below arrow, it's the duration of your project. D or duration. You always need to write it down there. This is my duration. Early start, late start. I will explain what is that, but just now you listen. Early finished, EF, and late finish, LF. What is important here? To know where you have to put every information correctly. For example, you cannot put the early start here. Oh, I want to put it here, actually show you here. Sorry. Here, you cannot put the early start here. Always should be in its place, correct place. So, this one we call early start. If we talk about the fixed rebar, if there is another activity here, okay, then you have to shift to the another activity. This definition is for the time that you talk about activity A or activity fixed rebar. Early start, early finished, late start, and this one is the late finished. So in this page, you already learn where you need to put and keep every information. In the next slide, let's learn what is these terms, what those terms trying to say. Let's go to activity A. Take a look there. A, the one I choose here, A. Take a look here. What is that? Early start. C, early finished. How to calculate the early finish? Nobody gave it to you. This is your knowledge. This is your understanding. Help you to find out. The early finish, to find the early finish, you need to follow this very simple equation. Means early start plus duration of activity A will give you the early finish. Early finish for activity A. I just change the color here. No, cannot change the font, but I hope you can see. Oh yeah, this is better, okay? So how I calculate the C? Again, I repeat again, I followed very simple equation. A, early start for activity A plus duration of activity A will give you the early finish for activity A. Now, after you find the C, you need to find E. How you have to do that? Again, there is a simple equation here. But here, you going to discuss about activity B, not A anymore. You see the B. The C here actually is early start for activity B. Take a look here. When you are here, this terms different a little. The C is early start. You're using the same equation. The earliest start for activity B plus the duration will give you the early finish for activity B. This is we call forward pass. Always start from left, we go to the right. Forward pass. But you always need to go backward. You always, in calculation, you need to go backward. In the backward, for the last activity, here very simple, only two. The E, which is early finish, you transfer that figure to the F, where I put the F. This is your late finish. The latest time that activity B can be finished. Why we have early start, late start, early finish, late finish? Why we not just calculate the activity A duration plus activity B plus another activity? Why we have so many terms? Can you tell me? I want to see who think tank, who think big. Why we have so many early start, early finish, late start? Who knows that?
Because we are working in the time during. If we let didn't finish our work in the time, we'll be late in when we submit our project.
Okay, Bashir. Anyone else? Let me ask you a different way. Take a look here. Like this activity, like take 2 days, 3 days, 10 days, 12 days, 8 days, 7 days. Why we not just calculate the sum of all this activity and mention my project will be finished on this day, like 25 days? Why we need to go through so many confusing detail? Why not just calculate the sum of the all duration and say, okay, my project take n days, 10 days, 20 days? Why all this detail necessary? Calculate like that, forward, backward pass? Who can give me the answer? No answer? Should I give you a quiz? Think. I expect to hear some answer from all of you.
Maybe because each activity have different duration, so it might be um, a delay in some activity. That's why.
Yeah, I agree with that part. Each activity have a different duration, just like the example I give you. One have 7, one have 10, one have 12. But my question is, regardless that delay, maybe you don't have a delay in your project, maybe have, I don't know, I cannot confirm. But the question is, why not calculate the sum of all activity? I give you example, 5 plus 2 days plus 5 days, 12 days, for plus 8 days, another activity 5 days, 25, and calculate like that.
Because some tasks are done simultaneously.
Again, please.
Some tasks are done simultaneously, so we can do more than one task a day. That way, if we just sum up the duration, all the duration, we don't count for the tasks that are done in the same day. So maybe, yeah.
Yes, Mohammed, that's correct answer. Anyone understood what your friend said? If no, let's have more discussion.
Understood.
Okay? Whoever not understood, let me know so we can have more discussion about it. Because in my experience, I saw so many people, whoever, even they graduate already in the university, they don't have a clear understanding of construction project management. They think they just can calculate all the duration and get just one sum figure. Okay, project finish at this day. This is very important. You understand and you know why we use this method. Okay, so where I was actually here, I told you one time you go forward pass using this equation, and secondly backward pass. The equation for backward pass a little different. Here you have on forward pass you have sum, but in backward pass you have minus. For example, you want to find the D, late finish, for activity A. This D, same time, have two meaning. Late finish for activity A and early finish for activity B. I hope that's not make you confused. It depends, you talk about which activity, A or B. When you talk about this A, this D is the late finish, the latest time. For example, take a look here. This duration is 2 days, but this D, maybe it can be 10 days. How that's possible? It means from day 1st to day 10, during these 10 days, only activity A take 2 days. So either you can do it in the first day and second day, or you can postpone it to the day 9 and 10th day. Your project still can be finished on time if this activity not on the critical path. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. So it's okay if you not clearly understand. We're going to have example that would help you. So all you have to know about this equation. Forward pass always sum, backward pass always you need to make minus. Now let's have some examples. There is a very simple project, contain a few activities, 7 activities. The second column, the middle column, is the duration of project. 3 days, 5 days, 3 days, 4 days. This table shows as day, but maybe it's week. It doesn't matter, still okay. And one more thing that you need to keep in your mind: the answer of this example is based on the weekdays, 7 days working. Okay, but in reality, around your house, if there is a project in your city, normally there is a weekend. But here we assume all 7 days project running. Okay, now let's see. Okay, and here you have some predecessor. This shows you how different activity connect to each other. Okay, first, the node 1. Your project starts with activity A, right? Activity A, and does not have any predecessor. Means this is the first activity for your project. What should I do right now? I need to draw another node. Now, what activity should come after activity A? B, because the predecessor means the previous activity of B is A. This column shows the previous activity. I repeat again, shows the previous activity. Okay? You can write down somewhere. So later if you go back today or tomorrow, hopefully today, you go back to the node, you can remember it much more easier. Now, what is that? What is the next activity? C. What is the requirement for activity C? Take a look on the table. The previous activity should be B. Okay, good. The next activity is D. What is the requirement for activity D? Nothing. So both start from one node. Remember, your diagram always should start from one node and end up to the one node, to another node, which means you cannot start activity D from another node. Both should attach to the node 1. Next, activity E and the predecessor A. You can see after A, E come up. The next activity F. The requirement or previous activity should be E and D. E and D, F. So let me stop here again. Your project start from activity 1, end up to 1 activity C. Okay, I exit from the screen. Okay, here, this is the last one. So 1 node start, 1 node finished, right? Okay. This is the first step. Now, you have to calculate the forward pass. Do you remember the equation for forward pass, right? What should we put as earliest start for activity A? This is activity A. In the top here shows earliest start. Earliest start box for activity A. What should we put here? 3 or what? Should be, okay, let's talk about it first. Early finish box for activity A. So earliest start, node 1 is always 0. We discussed about it in another example previously. Nothing happens, your first day of project. So this is a 0 days so far. 0. Make forward pass through the network. So just follow the equation. Earliest start plus duration will be early finished. 0 plus 3, 3. Next, for activity B, 3 plus 5 will be 8. Right? Earliest start box for activity B. And this one, early finish box for activity B. Three plus 5, earliest start plus duration is 8. This box, what mentioned here is very important. If 2 or more activity end up at a junction node, just like number 4 and number 5. Take a look, number 4, 2 activity, D and E end up to 1 node. You need to place the larger sum at ES or earliest start. This is the earliest start, right? You cannot see how I move the mouse, it's okay. But you know where is the earliest start? In the upper section. Between E and D, you need to put the highest figure. Yes?
Nothing, sir.
Oh, it's okay, no problem. The slide is moving, take a look here. 3 plus 4 is 7. Where we get the 3? From the node 2, early start of E. Plus 4, the 4 is duration of E, activity E will be 7. But from D, 0 early start plus duration 4 will be 4. So between 7 and 4, which one you choose? Which one is larger amount?
7.
Apparently 7. So in the early start, you put the 7. That's how you have to calculate. Now we continue. 7, go to node 5. You have 7 plus 10, 17. And from C, you have 8 plus 3, 11. Between 11 and 17, you choose the larger.
17.
Yes, thank you. Very good. And finally, 17 plus 9, 26. That's all for forward pass, which means you finish the first step. Second step, backward pass. Now, early finish of activity G here, or node 6, is 26, right? You can see here. That means it will take 26 days to finish the project. Not less, not more. Therefore, 26 days represent as late finish of the project. Means you can write down the 26 in this below circle. Now, as I told you just now, the backward should be minus, right? Let's do minus. 26 minus 9, 17. Can you see this 17?
No.
No.
No. Okay, let me. How about now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
very good. Very
Yes.
good. Very good. So, 26 minus 9 is 17. 17 minus 3, activity C, 14. Now activity F, 17 minus 10, 7. But for node 2, you have to be careful. In the case of junction, you have to choose a smaller digit, a smaller figure, a smaller value in the late finish box. So take a look on the B, arrow B, activity B. 14 minus 5. How much?
9.
Yes. And now go to E. 7 minus 4. How much?
3.
3. Correct. Thank you. Between 9 and 3, you have to choose the smaller, which is 3.
3.
Yes,
3.
thank you. Correct. So, and end up to the last stage. This is your backward pass, and you finished the calculation. So it's very simple, but you have to be very careful because during this process, if you mistakenly write 22 instead 23, the rest of process cannot be correct. Very good. So next stage, we need to find or calculate the amount of total floods. The equation of total flood is, as you can see, is following. Late finish late finish minus duration minus early start. So I want actually to show you with this. Take a look for activity A. I want to calculate total float for activity A. Late finish of activity A, how much is 3 here? Not the top one, okay? The below one. This late finish. This one is late start. 3 minus duration 3 minus early start of activity A, 0. The answer is 0. Let's move to the activity B. Late finish of activity B, 14 here. Minus 5 duration. Minus early start of activity B, 3. The answer is 6. That's how we calculate the total float. Let me move. Okay. The total float for different activity, we write it down on the top. Like for C, 6. For the activity G, 0. For activity F, 0. How is 0 for activity F? This 17 minus this 10 minus this 7 become 0. So let me, why we calculate the total float? Because we need to find the critical path. The red arrow show you the critical path. What does mean? The activity A, E, F, and G, these 4 activity cannot tolerate any delay. For B, how many days delay you can have? 6 days. For activity B, I repeat again, 6 days you can have delay and you still can finish on before 26 days. Take a look activity C. How much the total float?
6.
Means you can have 6 days delay to accomplish activity 6, C, and you can still finish the project on time before until 26 days, before 27 days. For activity D, also 3 days delay you can have. I'm not saying you must, it's compulsory you have 3 days delay. Don't misunderstand my point. I merely say, if you have on activity D, 3 days delay, you accomplish by 3 days delay, you still can finish the project on time. Okay? So that's the reason we accomplished forward pass, backward pass, and critical path, total float and critical path, to find out what activity located on critical path. So in the last stage, you can transfer all the information to the table, just like here. Early start of each activity, early finish, late finish, late start, sorry, late finish, and total float. There are 4 activities located on total float. And for the last stage, you can draw the bar chart. The red color shows your critical path, and the 1/2 dot like that shows how many days you can have delay on that single activity without facing any delay on your project deadline. So I want you to take a look. That's it, the example finished. I want now you take a look and let me know if you have any question. Okay, while you maybe have a question, you can think about it, and same time you can make your attendance. Okay, if you make your attendance, let's have another example. The example you see front of you right now, there are some activities included in the project, same as previous one. You have duration and you have some predecessor. It's very important, you know, you be able to draw it, okay? But for simplicity, we just show you how to do that. This is your network, diagram network. Activity A, B, C, and until the last one. Again, I repeat, you start from one single node and you end up always to one single node. Okay? You after this class, you can check how we draw it. Follow the requirement activity for each one. First, forward pass, 0 plus 2 become 2, 2 plus 3 become 5, but we have 7. Why? Shouldn't this one be 5?
The largest number.
No.
Activity D.
Yes, thank you. Very good, very good. Thank you. I like that. It's 3, yes. Correct.
Plus 4.
That's correct. Yes. So you continue the same way and you will get the 14 days, which means this project will take 14 days to finish. Next, what's come after forward pass? Backward pass, right? Here, 14 minus 3 will be 11. And you continue until this, you should get again 0 here. And you know here, you have to choose the smallest minus when two activity end up to one node. Finally, the amount of total float. This is your total float. And let's check. The red color, you need to show it by different color, highlight it by different color. This is better for clarity. These 4 activity, B, D, E, and G, it's not possible to have any delay. They should start on time and finish on time. That's the only way you can finish this project on 14 days. Meantime, you cannot finish this project early than 14 days. It's not possible to be finished on 13 days based on the information data we have. Okay, if somebody put some information here, then if they can change it, that's a different story. I mean, for example, if the duration of activity C possible become 2 days, yes, maybe we get different, maybe not, because this is not activity on critical path. But let me talk like that here. Maybe can change, maybe cannot, but that's not the point. What I'm trying to say, this is not possible you finish early than 14. This is the minimum time it's possible, or duration of the project. Okay, that's for it. You are going to have one assignment for this week. You have to submit on this Thursday. Yes. Okay, please check your email for the assignment. Let me know if you received the email or not. The submission on 16, this Thursday, 7 p.m. Please upload before the deadline, before 7 p.m. Have you received the email update?
No, no,
Not
we
yet.
didn't receive.
Not yet. Okay, never mind. If you not received any email.
Doctor, inside Google Classroom already have, right?
Yes. I just upload in
That
the.
assignment too.
Oh, very good. Okay, please check your Google Classroom. I also shared the link with you here. The last link is for Google Classroom. This is your assignment, and the deadline also mentioned there. So everything is clear. You just need to read it and do it. That's it.
Now I can see.
Oh, very good. Okay, thank you. Let me know.
Doctor, we need to use application or can use handwriting?
Yeah, you can use handwriting. Not necessary to use application or something. This is completely, I leave it up to you. Okay? To me, it's okay. Use handwriting or use any software. My point is for you to learn. How beautiful you want to submit, it's up to you.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Okay, welcome. Okay. That's it for today class. You can leave the Google Meet. I'll hopefully see you on next week. Wish you all best of luck and have a good day.